we should start by telling folks it has a bridge.
It has a bridge. It has a new bridge.
Everyone's face lights up when they hear that, right? Like everyone wants a bridge.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
and
yeah.
Except until you have to pay for it,
Anyone,
right?
anyone can have one for $40,000.
Welcome to the Fine Homebuilding Podcast, our weekly discussion of building, remodeling, and design topics aimed at anybody who cares deeply about the craft and science of working on houses. This is Senior Editor Patrick McComb. I'm joined by Fine Homebuilding Editorial Director Andrew Zellner,
Happy to be here, Patrick.
Fine Homebuilding contributor and home builder Jon Beer,
How's it going?
and Keith Coleman from Duration Molding and Millwork.
Absolute pleasure to be here.
You can find previous podcasts and check out the show notes at finehomebuilding.com/podcast. Please email your questions to fhbpodcast@taunton.com. Well, thank you all for being here. It's a pleasure to be at JLC Live. This is easily the world's best construction trade show.
It really is, Patrick. It's like these are our people. Like, we shouldn't be at this table. We should be out there with the people.
And we have some good news. Someone is sponsoring this podcast, which is very kind. And we have a representative with the company here today, manufactured exclusively from Westlake. True exterior trim, duration molding, and millwork products combine the benefits of real wood, engineered wood, PVC, and cement-based options without the drawbacks associated with each of them. From standard, semi-custom, and fully custom molding profiles to beveled sidings and historically accurate millwork, Duration provides unparalleled performance where fit and finish matter. Well, I think we should start off by introducing yourself.
It's Keith.
Keith, and please tell me what you do for Duration Molding and Millwork. Thank you for helping me out there. That's embarrassing.
Absolutely. Thanks, Patrick. Well, I am the president and CEO and founder of Duration Molding and Millwork. For those of you who don't know what that is, it's polyash, an unbelievably wonderful building material product that sort of checks all the boxes when it comes to siding and exterior trim.
So folks who may have used Boral in the past, it is the same material, am I right?
That is correct. Boral was the original developer. Westlake, Royal Building Products purchased Boral North America in January of 22.
Can I ask a silly question? How does one decide that fly ash is a possible building product component?
It's a good question. You'd have to go back to the original Boral engineers, but I think, they were looking for something that was extremely stable and plentiful. And fly ash is the third largest waste byproduct in the world by volume. So there's these mountains of fly ash all over the world, and the folks at Boral were able to figure out a way to combine that with polymers and create just an incredible building product. It's 70% fly ash.
Can you tell folks who may be unfamiliar with the product, what are the advantages? What do builders say they like about it?
Wow, there's a lot of different things. Obviously, the environmental story is fantastic. 70% recycled content. It's a safe dust when they're milling the product, another key component. Stability is probably the number one thing that we hear. So when you're putting miters together, whether it's crown moldings or even some of our sidings, they stay put. I think what most people are most impressed by in terms of builders is when they come back to the project in 2 years, their miters look just like the day they left them. It also has no clearance requirements whatsoever. You can run it to grade, down to grade, just makes no difference whatsoever.
The thing that strikes me as a huge advantage is you don't need to leave the 2-inch space between siding and roofing materials, right? Which looks pretty hokey.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. And not only that, but you don't even need to seal the edge of it. So, cut the angle of the roof, put it right against the roofing material, you're good to go. Totally warranted. You can paint it any color without specialized paint. So if you
Unlike PVC, which has a tremendous coefficient of expansion, you can't paint it dark colors.
Absolutely. We're at the opposite end of the spectrum in terms of expansion and contraction because it's just not affected thermally. Aside from that, what carpenters like is you can sand it. You can mill it yourself. If you have carbide bits and want to do a little bit of milling on it, by all means. But I think probably the number one thing is that when you paint it, it looks just like wood. You cannot tell the difference between it and wood when it's painted. And that's what's allowed us to get into a number of historically architectural review board controlled areas.
Jon, it's a pleasure having you on the podcast. Can you tell us about your business, what you do? You're currently working on the current Fine Homebuilding house.
Yeah.
But you're a builder.
Yeah, I run a small design build firm in the Hudson Valley, about an hour north of New York City. We do mostly residential work, typically 2 to 5 projects at a time. A lot of interiors. We tend to work on a lot of older houses. Our area is like a lot of Victorian architecture, so something we do a lot of. Yeah, we're starting to get into some performance building and some custom. We'll be doing our first ground-up build in the fall, hopefully. And we're currently working on my house, which is the FHB house for 2023, which is super exciting. We're taking a 1,200 square foot ranch that was abandoned for 10 years and turning it into like our kind of forever home and building a shop. And yeah.
We should start by telling folks it has a bridge.
It has a bridge. It has a new bridge.
Everyone's face lights up when they hear that, right? Like everyone wants a bridge.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
Except until you have to pay for it.
Anyone can have one for $40,000.
Andrew, this is so. Have you been to the show before, you two? I haven't asked that.
Oh yeah. This is routinely our best show, no question about it, because we're talking to
These are the folks who do it.
These are the folks that swing the hammer, and a lot of respect, and it's just a great, very interactive show for us.
Yeah, we come every year. I mean, it's great for us to be here to have conversations with suppliers and vendors and get a sense of like what products are out there, what's new, what can help us do our job better and create a better product.
And Andrew, this is your second time coming to the show.
Correct.
And what are your thoughts? What do you think it does well?
One of the things I love, especially Fridays, is all of the high school students that come through and get to, you can tell they're timid and shy, but you can tell that they're having fun and getting swag and getting exposed to all the cool things you can do in the world of building.
I asked a couple of young folks, what programs they were in, and they said they loved it, which delighted me. And
Yeah.
I think if the industry has a future, it looks pretty bright, guessed, based on the folks here, right?
Yeah, Rhode Island's got it down. Yeah.
So have you all had a chance to walk the show floor or take it into classes? Are there things you're hoping to check out when you're here? Dave, you want to ask first? Keith?
We've been so busy at the booth, really haven't been able to leave.
Do you I mean, that's a lot of work talking to people all day. I'm guessing they have a lot of questions. Does it get tiresome?
I mean, not really. I mean, that's what we're here to do, to hear all the stories, to get feedback is really fantastic. I think it's the most enjoyable thing is when we're talking to people that have used our product or are in the midst of using our product, as well as those people that have never heard of polyash before. So it's a wide range.
Are there still those folks coming to your booth? They say, "What is it?"
There are. Oh
Wow.
yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. No question about it. But
What I love about the show is that folks are taking time out of their very busy lives, running businesses, and improving their game. They want to do a better job. They want to be better builders, tradespeople, whatever. And I'm heartened in the industry. We hear a lot of bad things about it, but when you see the enthusiasm and the dedication of the folks who come to this show, I think we're in pretty good shape.
yeah, these are serious, people. This is not just a job. Most of them, to a very heavy degree, really take everything to heart. They want to be professional, and they care because their name's on it. So, yeah, we love the attendance of this show. Absolutely.
Have any of you seen anything cool on the show floor you want to talk about? I saw a couple things.
This is actually the first year that I've taken a bunch of classes. So, one great opportunity here is like you have people coming together that are experts in their field, and for a small fee, you get the chance to like take as many classes as you want. It's something I've talked about for a couple of years, and to actually finally be doing that has been really good.
What did you attend yesterday, John?
So yesterday was a business class from actually a guy from my area who has a really successful large remodeling company, and it's all about kind of the business side of that. And it was like 7 practices to make a successful remodeling company. And then this morning I had a class with Glenn Matheson about building science and building code. I haven't met him before, and he was a wealth of knowledge, and in an hour and a half changed my perspective of how I thought about certain things to a different way of thinking about it, and
Glenn
that's
has
awesome.
that effect on people,
Yeah.
I gotta say.
Did your perspective change after he beat you at Builder's Jeopardy?
No, I'd let him win.
I gotta ask you, how were the questions? Were they hard? Were they too hard?
There were a couple sleepers in there,
Yeah.
I think that was all Andrew.
I think Andrew did a great job.
It was great.
Yeah.
I want to watch the next one now.
Samantha was delighted. She's like, I knew all the answers. She's such an overachiever. Have you seen anything on the show floor that you guys have your work cut out for you, but I'm sure you look and see what everyone else is doing.
Quite frankly, I'm embarrassed, but I really haven't had a chance to take a look at too much. It's just been crazy busy, even before the show even opened. We're actually just outside the front entrance, so there was about 45 minutes of interaction before the doors even opened, and we anticipate 45 minutes after too. So it's been great.
I know a lot of folks come here to buy tools and
Oh, yeah.
tool storage, right? And
A lot of
you
tools.
see the yellow levels getting carried all over the place, right?
Yeah.
I can't wait to go check out the tool vendors because I haven't had a chance to do that myself.
Last year you bought an Occidental belt.
Your memory is impeccable, and I'm wearing it today.
I had just purchased
And
one
I was hoping
like
someone was
a
gonna
few
ask me
weeks
about it.
before. Yeah. I'm also wearing an Occidental belt. I wear one every day. Haven't worn it on a job site.
All I can say is, most belts are garbage. This one is really good, really good. If you wear this out, you are living a way harder life than I am.
I have to say, I'm in the Diamondback camp, and getting to come here and actually try everything on is like what
That's
sold
huge because
me.
you can't do that mail order, right?
Yep. So,
And you get to try stuff, tools, products, right?
yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Do you guys let attendees work with this stuff at all? Do you have demonstrations? How's that work?
Absolutely not. No. Mostly, it's a touch and a feel type
Yeah.
of thing. They just want to get a sense of the weight of it. But now we mail them out samples if they're looking for those, and they can subject it to any sort of test they want to.
Do people tell you that they put it in a bucket of water and let it sit? Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, bucket of water, blowtorch right up against it, all sorts of stuff. Leave it in a campfire overnight.
What happens?
It just chars.
Yeah.
Around the outside. Yeah.
Have you used this stuff?
No, but JLC was the place where, after hearing about Duration on the Modern Craftsman, for years, it was like, oh yeah, let's go look at it. It's literally right here, and we haven't had the opportunity to work with Boral, but it's something that's like right in the front of my brain.
Cool. Thanks.
What I am impressed is that how well it machines. You're like, this stuff is stone. How's that going to work? But it really does cut cleanly. It's amazing.
Yeah, you get nice sharp edges, something that you really can't get with any other material other than wood. And what's cool about it is it's like the versatility of wood, because you can use wood for everything when you think about it. Plus, wood has that structural component. Unfortunately, that's not something that we have, but everything else, that's what's so cool about it. Whether it's siding or molding or millwork, you can make out of it.
You mentioned Diamondback a little bit ago, John. I've noticed a proliferation of that kind of technical workwear and tool management systems. Have you seen other stuff that's interesting to you besides Diamondback's products here?
I'm not sure if they're here this year, but both Blackladder and Snickers, I think, have been here in the past, and it's another kind of thing where you don't get the opportunity to like feel stuff and try it on in person wherever you live. So for us, that's always been a cool thing.
I was reminded how cool the products are that are made by Vito Propak, walking the show floor earlier. So this is a company started by a Finnish carpenter who was unhappy with his tool storage systems and invented this bag that holds your tools so you can see them all and retrieve them readily.
That's how it starts.
And now they have tons of product offerings, and it is great, as you suggest, to be able to try stuff on and see, is this going to work for me? It's really hard to tell those things in a web page, right?
You guys have exoskeletons in the next 5 to 10 years? You
Maybe,
think?
if Festool comes through with a sponsorship, but we've heard that it's North America. It's not coming to North America, so we'll see. But Hilti has one already.
It's crazy.
Well, that makes sense for where their biggest customer base is, right? Commercial work, doing repetitive things, days and days on end. Yeah, and those projects can absorb those costs, right? Yeah. What is the price tag on the exoskeleton? Do you know?
No. It's up there, I'm sure.
It is less than the cost of like some joint replacements.
Well, heck yeah. Or replacing a worker, you
Yeah.
know? Like, there's not enough.
Yeah. I mean, I have friends who are electricians that have torn rotator cuffs from working overhead, and it's a real thing. Injury is a real thing.
Yeah.
We can't spare anyone.
Not now.
How is business?
Business is fantastic. Absolutely off the chart.
Is it limited to certain parts of the country, like I've heard, or is it nationwide?
We supply the whole country. Our largest dealers last year were actually in Healdsburg, California.
And California makes sense to me.
And Dallas, Texas. But California hasn't discovered polyash yet. Once they do, it's going to be off the chart because they love the fire rating abilities of it. It has WUI, which is Wildland Urban Interface rating. So people love that alone about the product. You can use it out there. But no, it's been great. Coastal areas, fantastic product application there. Even places that I didn't think would be booming, like Mobile, Alabama, off the chart.
Oh, well, there it makes perfect sense because of the climate.
Yeah.
It is so hot and wet, yeah.
Hot, wet, humid,
Yeah.
buggy, yeah.
Keith,
All
I've
those
heard recently, and this was in research for a feature I just did, that fly ash is getting harder to get, but yet you say it's the third biggest waste material from manufacturing, right?
That's correct. Yeah, there's literally mountains of it all over the world.
So what are the cement producers saying when they can't get fly ash for concrete making?
It might not be cleaned or refined, is the only thing I'm wondering. But it's a byproduct of coal combustion. And just to give you a sense, I've heard stories of China building 3 or 4 coal-fired plants a week. So it's going to be an ongoing issue. I've also heard people say that if coal production stopped right now, there'd be a 100-year supply of polyash, or fly ash, excuse me.
That must be heartening as a manufacturer. Of
Yeah, there is just an immense amount of it all over the world.
So I'm going to ask all of you, Keith first. Keith, you first. What would be your advice for someone who is considering coming to the JLC live show next year?
Oh, I mean, you definitely got to get here. And to John's point, take advantage of the education. Not only the manufacturers that you speak with, but just the other professionals that you run into. You're not going to be able to spend your time better, really, anywhere else. This is the one show to be at if you're a pro remodeler, a builder. And I don't just say that, because, we feel that way. It's just a universal feeling, particularly in the Northeast. And it's worth the trip, even if you're, doing some serious travel, even if you have to get on a plane. Highly recommend it.
How about you, John? What would be your advice for someone who's considering coming to the show?
I would say take the 3 or 4 days to see the whole thing and have enough time to meet people, and I'm connecting with people here this year that I only know online through social media, and it's so nice to come and meet them and connect and like remember that we're all kind of doing this together and that everyone comes from a different path, and some people have a long background in construction, some people don't, and it's just great to like have an opportunity to do this and remember that like our field is advancing and developing, and it's exciting, and it's not it's not just like the stigma that contractors are jerks. Like we're good people and we're trying our best, and
Do a good job.
yeah, and this is the place where we can all kind of remember that and hang out, and yeah.
What about you, Andrew? What would you say?
It's really like you want to take advantage of the whole thing. Like Jon said, like come early on Thursday, get those classes in. There are a lot of classes going on Friday too. And like the trade show portion of it is open on Saturday. And it's usually a little bit slower and like gives you opportunity to talk to some people. The other thing that I think is really cool is all of the people giving presentations here are at the top of their game. They're like here because they're doing really great work. And they're also here because they want to teach and help people. And like, don't be afraid to hang around after a presentation, go up and shake their hand, ask them about your project. Like that's why they're here, and they do want to help.
Super approachable.
Yeah. Only nice people are at the JLC live show. I don't know what the deal is.
Can you share your microphone with Samantha? So Samantha is our executive editor at Fine Homebuilding, and this is your first time here, right, Samantha?
Yes, it is.
What do you think?
It's amazing. I've never been to a trade show that's related to building, and so I'm kind of going to steal what Jon said here, but I've only really interacted with people here through their writing online and social media, and even the manufacturers' tools and things through the pages of the magazine and online. So to actually see them here and get that energy and be reminded about why we work in this industry and that everyone's really passionate about it is just wonderful.
I should tell you both. So they were playing Building Jeopardy earlier in the day, and Samantha volunteered that she knew all the answers.
There were a couple I didn't know, just a couple. I had to run home and check my electrical box to make sure it's not one of the Federal Pacific ones that are ready to explode. Probably not.
What would be your advice, Samantha, for folks who are considering coming to the show?
I think that, as you said, about everyone being super approachable, I've walked the show floor and seen some interesting things and been able to ask people questions, and everyone really wants to talk to you about what they're doing and why you should be using their product or their material and what they've been working on. It's like all a group of friends getting together. It's awesome.
That's nice. Yeah. I can tell you what I would tell someone to come to the JLC live show for, and that's to buy the tools and the workwear, and because
there are plenty of commerce opportunities.
It's like awesome things to spend money on here, and
and you get to buy them and you take them home with you.
Oh my gosh!
You don't have to wait for a few days for it to show up in the mail. You don't have to be there to sign for it.
It seems like the cordless stuff is really making leaps and bounds too.
Yeah,
it is so good now and so useful. We're presently talking about testing, are testing cordless routers for Fine Homebuilding. Wow. As far as a tool that really could benefit from not having a cord, I think a router is certainly at the top of my list, because inevitably you're making something, the cord gets snagged, and you ruin whatever it is you're doing, right?
100%.
I used a cordless table saw not too long ago, and
I never thought that was going to be a thing.
A few years ago, somebody would send me there's cordless table saw, I'd be like, why? It makes no sense. It's a stationary tool, but on many job sites, there's no power. And like setup is so much less if you're just doing something quick, right? It's like...
And sometimes you need it for 10 minutes and that's it. And I mean, it's something we actually don't have that I would like to get. But like, we're almost entirely cordless nail guns, cordless, like almost everything.
We should tell folks, Jon, you have perhaps one of the best looking work rigs I have ever seen, both in terms of its outward appearance, but inside is where the real magic is. Do you want to tell folks about how you've invested in Festool and they're paying you in Festool products?
I wish.
Green crack.
Yeah, exactly. It's the green Kool-Aid. So the van is basically a series of cabinets. They all have these Festool Sys AZ drawers. They hold a sustainer. So not all the tools are Festool, just the boxes. And so there's about 50 drawers in the van, and you can open them up, drop the sustainer in, close it up, and so it means that everything stays really organized and it looks really fancy, which is what matters.
So have you explored the version 3 you can just mount on rails now instead of the drawer. Like,
So yeah, that's the goal. Is like I wanna do some of that and bring some of that stuff into the new shop we're building.
Okay.
So people can like swap in and out but yeah, it's organization is huge. Not having to be the only one that knows where something is like.
I'm curious how much you insure a vehicle like that for.
The policy is for $30,000 for just the van. What for its contents, I guess. Actually, not even the van itself. Yeah.
I'm wondering if that would do it.
Yeah.
You know, right?
It's it's close. You know, the drawers themselves are like $60 a pop.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So Keith, everyone has a story about how they got involved in this kind of wacky business. Do you want to tell us how you became involved in the building materials industry?
Well, I was born into it.
Many of us are.
Yeah. No. From a very young age, I worked at a lumberyard that was owned by my family.
Neat. Where at?
Purchased in '67 in just outside of Trenton, New Jersey.
Cool.
And grew up in the business, spent every available free time in the business, went off to college, came back, worked in the lumberyard, and then after about 20 years in the building material side of the business, we were approached by a company called Wolf Home Products, and they said, we have the latest, greatest exterior trim and material that you're ever going to see. And we're sort of, we'll test that. We had our own custom shop at the time. We put it through all the tests, like you said, with the bucket and whatnot. We came back to them and we said, wow, you got our attention. This stuff really works. We said, where are the moldings? And they said, there aren't any. And we said, really? So we went to work on figuring out how to machine them. And we were able to crack the code and start machining them. And they said, well, how much of this stuff can you make? And I said, well, how much do you guys want to buy? And
Let's start there.
We started there. We started with 10 different profiles. They said, try and match the PVC profiles for us. We'd like to be able to go to the market and show people both regular trim boards as well as the profile moldings. And that's how it all got started. And you might know that Boral at one time introduced a beveled siding. And it was picked up and people loved it, but then they cut it right off about 10 or 12 months later because they were having some production issues. And at that point, we were able to jump in. But anyway, we developed a distribution network with Wolf and now U.S. Lumber, as well as some other Midwestern distribution facilities. So we can get it to people all across the country. And we're really the only people that are milling it on any sort of scale to this point in the country. So it's been a great run.
Does the family still own the lumberyard?
We do.
Wow, that's really cool.
Yep, absolutely.
And it's just one store, or was it?
One facility, yep, 9-acre facility. We share that facility with the lumberyard. So
That's a tough business to be in. I've worked in that industry for a while. I'm guessing when you were young working in the family's business, you probably didn't want anything to do with it. Am I right?
No, I loved it.
You did?
I absolutely loved it, yeah.
That's cool to hear.
And I had cash, so other kids didn't.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that is a plus about working, right?
Yeah.
What do you guys want to say goodbye with today? What do you want to tell our listeners?
Don't go home early and buy your tools on Saturday. Don't buy them on Friday. You'll carry them around all day long.
It's going to rain tomorrow too, isn't it? So
It'll be
It's a
great
good place to
inside,
be. Yeah.
great
I'm going
place
to want
be.
to wait till tomorrow to get that Bosch demolition hammer you're telling me. Yeah.
Yeah.
It sounds heavy.
Make sure you buy the cart too.
Yeah. There you go.
What about you, Andrew? What do you want to say before we go?
I would just encourage everyone to get out to JLC Live, a trade show. Go out and meet some people and talk to folks. If you got time to hang up the tool belt for a day, it's sort of like it reminds you why you do the work you do, and it reminds folks that we're human and enjoy each other's company too. I think is one of the other cool things.
Well said. How about you, Keith?
Just keep craft alive. I love that little phrase. I think the future is super bright for talented individuals that want to do things the right way. More and more, finding a great home builder or a great remodeler is challenging for a lot of folks. And if they take the time to learn how to do things the right way, install things the right way, super bright future. So, and you learn a lot of that here. So,
well said too. I would say, folks, come to JLC Live. You will find a time well spent and money well spent, and you'll meet some great people, and hopefully come home with some cool tools, because that's why we're here, right?
I'm here to come home with cool tools. I'm glad you said that, Patrick.
Well, I want to thank all of you for listening today, and I want to thank our guests, Keith, Andrew, John, Samantha. Was that your podcast debut? Am I right?
But not my last appearance, hopefully.
No way.
Because the microphone loves me.
I want to remind you all to please send us your questions, suggestions to fhbpodcast@taunton.com, and please like, comment, or review us however you're listening. It helps other folks find our podcast. Stay safe, everybody. Keep craft alive. Thanks very much for listening.